Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Base Damage, and welcome to the introduction episode to the Gachacast. I will be one of your hosts, Cade, and my other co-host is...
What is up, YouTube? You cannot get enough of me. This is no soup for you too. Bugging Cade to get this done, so we are getting this done today.
Today, right the frick now. This will go up fairly soonish. So we've been talking about this for a while. I think literally it just became June, and we've been contemplating this since like fucking February. So it's been going on for a minute.
Yeah.
But
which there is, I think, a very good reason that you and I also I was bugging you about, hey, we have to get this done now because of what stuff that's coming up in June and later that we absolutely need to talk about.
Mm-hmm. There's a lot of upcoming stuff that we're just like we want to be able to talk about it as it happens as well. So that's why we're trying to go ahead and get this taken care of. So just to kind of go, so that is who he is. For anyone who's listening for this for the gotcha portion, typically for this channel, I typically talk about card games, invite some wonderful Discord members like Soup, Joker, and everybody who join in for different card game related things. For Weiss, Schwarz, I'll yap about Yu-Gi-Oh! Every now and then, Pokemon, whatever card games we typically do. But this one is specifically for gotcha games. Like this particular podcast, we're wanting to do gotcha game stuff. I've been itching to do another podcast as well for some reason. I don't know why. There's just something that's been drilling in the back of my brain.
We yap about a lot of stuff on Discord, so
we do. We just hop in VC and at this point just yap about so many different things. And gotcha games come up a whole bunch for this. So I figured we would do a little introduction thing, like say, what gotcha games have we played so far? What stuff do we want to do for future episodes? And also kind of delving, because gotcha games, I understand, have a little bit of public opinion about them. So I kind of want to discuss, pros and cons of gotcha games and whatnot. Just a quick little thing just to kind of go through for that. So let's start with, what the fuck have we played before? What the fuck gotcha games? I have a list here as I try to minimize stuff. The one thing me and Supu are both knee deep in, and so is Moroku, FGO. Fate Grand Order. Oh boy.
We cannot stop. We will not stop.
I started for that, and we'll obviously get deeper into this on other future episodes and whatnot. I've been playing since the game came out in English, and this is going on 7-8 years now? 8 or 9?
For English, yeah, I think we're coming up on 8th anniversary.
I think you're right. Something to that nature.
Yeah.
So that's active for me. Those are the ones we are actively still playing. I've been playing nonstop ever since it released. So,
yeah, I also started Fago during that first year. I think officially was it was the first running of the Sansong event, and I think the Fate Zero of it. It was that was when I logged on and I started the story, but I couldn't even get to the event yet, and I hadn't been super active at that point.
Gotcha.
And the Fate Zero event, I think I got a little bit through, but I had a random CE from those events from all the way back then.
Yeah.
Before the run.
Sometimes I'll go back and look at the craft essences and just be like, I remember this.
Yeah, and then put it in my fucking archive.
Yeah, I got so many there.
And I really picked the game up when the Prisma Ilia collab came out, the first summer event with Skahak.
Oh, yes.
And the Halloween event that was after that. That's when I really started to get going on that game. I had a lot of friends at the time that were also doing the same, so it was this nice community that I had, which I still have most of that around. It's a game, people come, people go kind of a thing, but I still kind of have a nice core community in Fago. So I haven't had a reason to kind of give up on it, despite Fago sometimes making me want to do it.
Oh yes, there's going to be a lot of salt for that in the future. It's had its ups and downs. Let's put it that way.
Yeah.
There will be. We're just gonna go ahead and preface this now in terms of future episodes. That's gonna be a very interesting rant video, but also try to we're gonna try to put a positive spin on it. Just saying.
Yeah, because that's one of those games where there's already dozens and dozens of other content creators that can like do that kind of stuff. And then because I was talking to you about this, like, Cade, what can we actually do, like, photo-wise, that's going to like not even just get views, but just like matter, because exactly. You didn't want to sit here and just like rant about and complain about all the stuff that we're doing, because like it's stuff that we still enjoy.
Yeah.
But it's like we have 2 years worth of clairvoyance at any point in time, so there isn't a whole lot to like actually discuss that like isn't already just go Google it kind of a thing. So that's why we wanted to, and I was talking to you like all weekend about this, about like, hey, what's some of the things that we can do that's like a little bit more fun to like not only get like the viewers a little bit pumped, but also like to get ourselves a little bit pumped, and like doing kind of like little special things with our accounts, especially because you and I are both longtime players.
Oh yeah, account review incoming one day if we can somehow do it in an interesting way.
Man, I love my account, and I still have a lot of work to do.
Same. It is a never-ending grind, but that's kind of the nature of like a lot of different gacha games is that constant like daily grind. So there's a fun part to that as well. So more on Fago definitely in the future, because oh boy, yeah, we have opinions.
Yeah, right. Cade, what else have you played? Well, either currently or previously. What are you playing currently besides Fago?
Currently, okay, so my 3 active games, Fago, Honkai Star Rail is like probably the one that I'm just knee deep in, with storyline, with just daily like trying to plan out future servants and stuff like that. Interesting, those two are going to have a little bit of a correlation coming up here soon. And Wuthering Waves, made by Kuro Games, is the last one that I just constantly log in. Me and Moroku are constantly, because there is like a co-op system to it where you can play with like other people and everything. So that's one big reason why we're like, oh, we can like actually enjoy, like hop into each other's worlds and do stuff and do co-op events and stuff. So we enjoy that a whole bunch. So those are my 3 active.
Wuwa, to my understanding, is no longer really a Genshin clone anymore. It's finally gotten kind of its own identity, and
it really has.
Dare I say, people enjoy it maybe a little bit more than Genshin.
Yes, no, I tried Genshin, I tried Arknights, I've tried other games, but like Genshin especially, just really, I got up to what people consider the first major boss. So I tried to give it like its ample, like fair attempt, and after that first major boss, I'm like, okay, cool. Did I enjoy this? Not fucking really. It just really didn't.
You got up to Storm Terror and didn't even go into Liyue?
Exactly. I could.
Oh yeah, you log back in. Good.
Yeah. Oof. But like at that point, I'm like, okay, if I can get. But then say the counter side to that, even from like Hoyo Games, I tell people once you get to like the first, like, do not judge Star Rail until you get to like the first major boss that they do. And that's just what I like to tell people, but I tried to say that for any game. Like, hey, give something its fair share, right? And I try to tell people the same thing for Star Rail. Like, hey, don't judge it until you get to at least the first boss, because that first boss fight is what hooked me. I'm like, hey, I'm enjoying this, but that particular fight sold me on the story and just everything at that point. So I'm like, oh, this was really fucking cool. This gripped me. It wasn't just, oh, look, waifus. Oh, look, which, you know, we love the waifus. No lies there.
No lies there.
No, but because, hi, Kafka. Anyway, but it wasn't just that. Like, that boss fight sold to me. Whereas Genshin, it didn't do it. I'm like, I don't know why. Okay. It just didn't grab me. Also, Paimon doesn't exist in Wuwa. Anyway, sorry.
There's some. If you want a tangent, there's been a lot of. All right, I guess. All right, I'll talk about it. I'll touch on it on my segment. It's not really like a factor in my decision, but it's definitely something that's happening. Mm-hmm. So the games besides Fago, the other games that I guess I at the moment still consider myself active on,
quote unquote,
is Genshin and Zenless Zone Zero.
Hmm.
Because I definitely fell in the Genshin train for years, right? Like right when it
Yes.
first came out. But I wasn't like planning on playing it. It was just one of those games where like I had a bunch of friends that like tried it out. It's like, hey, this is the thing that's coming, and then like we all kind of started playing it, and then like I started playing it, and especially in the early years when I was able to treat it a lot more like kind of like a co-op game, um, that was a lot more fun because like it was we're stuck in like COVID, working from home when like everything is
Yes.
like kind of like coming releasing still. It's like we can still go out a little bit at that point, but
Yeah.
it's like hey, we can just like spend the evening, log on, uh, go knock out Dragonspine in someone's world, and then go to someone else's world and also knock out Dragonspine. I did that Dragonspine main quest like way too many times. It was really annoying.
Farming be
Um,
like that.
yeah. Um, but like I really I'll save more of the stuff for when we get to like pros and cons.
Hmm.
But like it was a game that like I quickly sort of enjoyed. Normally I'm not like that kind of like I like exploring in games a lot.
Yes.
But I'm honestly not really like a huge big like Zelda fan because compared
Oh,
everyone compared Genshin to
Breath of
Breath
the
of the
Wild.
Wild
Hmm.
when that came out, and I'm like, no, this is like way better, even if it
Yeah.
is gotcha game.
That was
Um,
the whole meme of, oh, mom, I want to play Breath of the Wild. We have Breath of the Wild at home. Shows picture of Genshin. So
yeah, but
yeah.
then like, especially when like you kind of get like a little bit deeper into like the mainline story, but a lot of the events, a lot of
Mhm.
the characters. We used to wake up every Friday morning at like 7 in the morning, just to watch the streams and like
Ah, yes.
you definitely were able to see like a lot of like the love and the care that like this was like MiHoYo or then it was MiHoYo before it was Hoyoverse.
Yeah.
It was like their baby. Like it was like, hey, this is like we're gonna put a bunch of money in the marketing and like darn, we're gonna do a really good job about it and like giving you the presentation and for years, right? Like going through the Mondstadt story, the Liyue story, um, Inazuma, Fontaine.
I've heard
Um,
nothing but positive stuff about like Fontaine when it dropped. I
yeah,
heard
the
yeah,
Fontaine
absolutely.
story was amazing. I think that was actually probably besides the kind of third act of it, that was my kind of favorite mainline story chapter, especially because Navia was running around just being the best girl boss like possible. I skipped over Star Rail, which you have been playing,
Mhm.
but then I did get convinced to try out Zenless Zone Zero,
Which I've heard
which
like positive stuff too. Like I just haven't tried
it,
it yet.
it was very fun for a while. Like the first couple days, like playing it, I'm still playing it, but like that those first kind of few story chapters up through the Sons of Caledon like story arc.
Hmm.
It was like once you're like there's a lot to do in the game, a lot of these like cool new characters. Everyone's gawking over all the Zenless Zone Zero animations that are going on because they put all the budget into that game into animations,
They really
right?
did. I've seen a lot of the
Um,
trailers.
oh yes, oh yes. Kind of in some of the stuff since then, and I actually want to say I think it's when it was kind of right after Miyabi released, and Miyabi was like a character that like they were like really hyping up in the story. When she got announced, it's like basically like they gave away the like the opposing 5 star for free because they
Hmm.
knew that no one was gonna roll for poor Haramasa.
Oh
Um,
yeah, they did
he was
hand him
like
out.
he's actually like a really good character,
Hmm.
but no one was gonna roll for him when he's like opposite Miyabi, and they're like, yo, here's like a bunch of matches, like go and get her. Um, so like I got her like C or Mindscape 2, and I got her her weapon basically her Wenjin, and
Yeah.
basically since then
Orb.
I was really trying to kind of like hyper min max Miyabi, and then but then like kind of after her there's like a cool character every now and then, but it's either like another DPS that kind of was like not as good as my Miyabi, or it was a support character that was like just kind of like a, hey, does this actually work with Miyabi or not? Because I kind of just got like focused around like one team. So instead of doing like multiple teams like I like doing in my other games, I just kind of focused around like one team, like hyper centralized. And then again, it kind of got to like more of like a grind because I'm just sitting here basically farming for artifacts or discs or whatever they're called in the game. It's the same thing.
Yeah, their currency thing. Yeah.
Yeah, it's no, it's like the equipment basically.
Oh, the equipment. Gotcha.
Yeah. So I had this thing where like basically I kind of like fell off on Genshin for a little while because I wasn't really that interested in just basically grinding the summer event. Played Zenless mainly, kind of jumped back to Genshin when the Natlan arc released, and I was kind of like going through that a little bit. But like there was definitely like some issues that started popping up with like the exploration mechanics and stuff that they started just like throwing in there. That like I think a lot of people in the community noticed.
Yeah.
And then Zenless, so like and then because they're both Hoyoverse games, a lot of the mechanics are shared, and Zenless is a bit more streamlined than Genshin in like some of their like quality of life changes. So Zenless just kind of
the new kid.
Yeah, like Zenless just kind of like replaced Genshin for me because it was basically I'm doing all the same stuff. I'm going out and doing combat. I'm going out and like farming for artifacts, rolling for characters, trying to get weapons, like all the same stuff that I'm doing. But it kind of like both games got to the point where they just got really grindy for kind of no payoff, especially when the recent like patch or two of Zenless, all they're doing is like this. The mainline story kind of got a little bit uninteresting. The events were just like a big nothing burger. Like it's not even just like a fun thing that you just kind of go out and grind. It's just like it's literally just like you are grinding events to get materials. There's a whole big mess with these games, but that's all kind of separate from my own personal issues with these games. But at the moment, I'm still active on them until we get to another segment. We're going to talk about some upcoming games.
Yeah, we got some other ones.
So one yap session out of the way. Kate, what are some other older gacha games that you have played? Because you and I have both been at this for a little while.
You're good. Okay, so just kind of run through the other ones really quickly. I played Azure Lane. That was a big one. My buddy Rex was also big into that one. I joke that we predicted that it was going to be in English, but that's a story for another day. Epic 7, which is another interesting one to kind of talk about because that actually had like a PvP element. I would love to go and have a episode about that one day. Especially because Epic 7 was how me and Joe ended up talking to another big YouTuber. Joe actually used to write articles for Mobile Gaming News Network because we ended up meeting Shotgun Shogun.
Shotgun Shogun. Yeah, that's right.
And for a long while, he did articles for him and like other stuff up there. And
yeah, because he used to be a very old and like very popular Fago YouTube. That he stopped that after many years and then went over to Arc Knights, which I think he's still over there. I'm not really sure.
I think so. I'm not 100% certain. We will have to confirm on that one day. Maybe I can get him up here. That would honestly be kind of cool because I had the connections already built for that. So. Another one I did, my buddy Zen got me into one called Lord of Heroes, which I don't think a lot of people know what that one is. If future me wants to, I'll put like pictures for like all of these on screen anyway. Because they did like other neat collabs with like Code Geass and stuff. It was really cool. It's like a 3D turn-based like RPG, and I think they handled their gacha system is I'll do a whole like thing talking about it, but their gacha system was non-existent for a long while. They didn't have a gacha system. It was doing events to get the characters or just outright, here, $15-$20 and you just get the character done. GG.
So it's more of like not battle pass, but just like a pass you have to buy to get the character.
For a lot of them. For
Which,
certain ones, yes, and then others was, just save up your normal resources that you do, and after you hit certain milestones, here, just go here,
yeah,
redeem them, you get them.
Kind of like how Smash Brothers used to do it, where you could like download like the DLC passes and you unlock like 5 characters on the pass. You can buy them individually.
Pretty much. And eventually they added gacha to it as well. So
yeah.
We both played. You said you played Bang Dream Girls Band Party. You probably played it longer than I did.
I played that for a long time. Basically when the game released, up until COVID, because it was kind of a weird situation.
Same.
But I love Bang Dream, and like I historically am horrendous at rhythm games. Right, like you see me at an arcade with a rhythm game, I'm terrible. DDR, I'm terrible. I tried the Project Diva clone Persona dancing games. Love them. I'm terrible. Right?
You tried the Persona dancing games?
Oh yeah, those are fantastic in their own right. I've tried like the when we had one of the Love Live games out here for a little while. But like the Bang Dream game, because I was like knee deep in like the franchise at that point, and then it kind of kept going. That was the one game, like rhythm game, that I'm like, I am going to sit here and I'm going to learn how to like become pretty decent at it. And like I had a very, very positive experience with Bang Dream and have thought on multiple occasions to like re-download it.
Especially with like the most recent seasons with like MyGo and Ave Musica, I would be lying if I say I wasn't also tempted to go like re-download it.
Because they added that to the game, yeah.
So very much like the temptations there, depending on how that stuff goes, especially in Weiss as well, with those sets coming out as well. But that is for the card game side of stuff.
I kind of like was not able to kind of do some of the daily grind in Bang Dream like I used to. So that was like kind of my story of that game. But I have been tempted to kind of go back.
That's
Sorry,
fair.
I kind of hijacked it. What else?
You're good.
What else is?
That's very fair. I honestly don't remember why I even stopped playing Girls Band Party. I just don't remember if I just said I'm good and like went on with something else, or if something else, probably an event or something in Grand Order, pulled me away. I don't know. Could have been.
But yeah, what else is on your list?
No, you're good.
What else is on your?
So I forgot Duel Links. You brought that up. I'm like, yeah, I guess that is a gacha game.
Technically, Master Duel. I also play Duel Links. Master Duel is also both of us. If that counts as a gacha game,
we'll leave that up to the viewers to decide if that counts or not. But the last thing on my list was solo leveling Arise, which honestly I never spent a single dime on it. Really fun game. I actually really enjoy it. I just was like, yeah, I'm caught up basically to as far as I can really go. I'm just gonna hold off for a little bit for now. I still got my account and everything. I just stopped playing for a while. But it's still a good game, and honestly, like one of the more generous ones in terms of like the currency to like roll the gacha and like the freebies that they give you. I thought it was really good.
Okay.
Different video on that another day. But that is all the ones I had. Did you have any more on your list?
Yes, I do, because I go back a little bit, and we talked about this before we got on the recording. It goes back where it was just browser games, not even mobile games.
Yeah, the browser games as well. Like, oh my goodness.
If anyone watching this video remembers the old Facebook games, the old Facebook browser games, so there used to be like Farmville was like the really big one that everyone jumped on, and everyone literally and their mother was just doing Farmville.
Yeah.
And there was a bunch of other like clones of it, and like the restaurant games. There was some kind of like Diablo clone called League of Angels. That
I've
was
never heard of this.
I think it's still going too, or there's like a 1, like 2. It was just like this old browser game that me and my one friend jumped on, and I played it for like a long time. Like I was in grad school at the time. I would like go over to the library like between my class and like work, and I would just be at the library playing all these like browser games because I couldn't get them on my phone because they weren't mobile, so I had to go log on a computer and do it.
That's fair. It is still going.
Yeah, and it's still going. A lot of those games are still going. We talked about Kantai too, because everyone kind of forgets about Kantai.
Yeah, that
browser game. We can do that another time though.
No, that's all good.
What's on my list here? The Kingdom Hearts Unchained. Oh god, it's a long Kingdom Hearts title. Something cross something.
Oh yeah. Hold on. We have Google. We have the means of this
Which
kingdom.
apparently it's also canonical to the franchise, but like this is Kingdom Hearts lore we're talking about. It just gets a little bit weird.
Missing link.
Um, Missing link cross something. No, it was something else. Union Cross.
Yeah. I
Whatever.
remember
I
hearing
played
about.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I played that game for a while. It wasn't overly good. Like the animation style was this kind of like the like games that you have to make the guy like fall, and he kind of has those
Fall
um
Guys.
sort of
Sorry.
flat doll, no, like the flat doll movements, and you have to try to make the guy fall without like getting him in like impale on spikes or whatever.
Oh,
But he
you're talking like
he moves
Happy
around like a
Wheels.
man.
Yeah, you're talking like Happy Wheels
Yeah,
stuff.
it had like that style of animation, but you're kind of going through like a 2D kind of like map,
Mm-hmm.
and you have to like fight dudes along the way. It wasn't super anything home to like write about as far as like graphics or whatever or gameplay. I do just remember that like the story mode got very hard in some places. Like there were hard checkpoints as far as like what does your account look like kind of a thing.
Mm-hmm.
Which got very frustrating. But that was just one of those games where like, and I'm not the biggest Kingdom Hearts fan, but it was just that's when it started. Where it was like, hey, I have a bunch of friends that play this. There's like co-op elements and stuff that you can do, and like, all right, I'll jump on because I have like 8 people that are like playing it. So I'm like, okay, sure, I'll do that.
That's fair. I was a
But like
big
Kingdom
Kingdom Hearts
Hearts,
fan, and I
yeah,
was told not to play
Kingdom
it.
Hearts. Puzzles and Dragons was another one that I highly enjoyed. That's like a OG mobile game.
Yeah, that's like a big name.
Yeah, as we're talking about like Battle Cats and like all things from back then, like Puzzles and Dragons has been around for a very long time. And I knew some people who played that. We all kind of jumped into Puzzles and Dragons for a little while.
Train. I know people who got into it. I just never hopped on that train.
It was very, very fun. But it's just one of those games where it was like I started it because people were playing it, and then when those people stopped, I stopped playing it. Right?
That's fair.
What else is on my list? We talked about Forgo.
Mm-hmm.
We talked about Duel Links. We talked about. I also played Azure Lane for a little while.
You did Azure, okay.
And it was like, it was okay. It was okay for me. I think it was the old Azure Lane before they did some of the more Gooner updates in that game with like buying outfits and stuff.
Yeah, I think the last time I played it was in like 2020, 2021 or something like that.
Yeah. Mine was probably even before that, but like that kind of first year that it was out, I played it, and I remember hitting up the Fox Mines a lot.
Yeah,
a lot. I liked Sympho Gear, but that game shut down before I could even quit.
Oh man.
And yeah, because that was like one of those games where it was like I think I was thinking about quitting, but then they announced the global shutdown, and they like gave you a bunch of materials and was just like, hey, just go get all these characters because it doesn't matter in like a month. And I'm like, all right, I think I will.
Gotcha. 07s to the Sympho Gear players. Sorry.
Yeah. What else? We talked about Bang Dream, Genshin's Endless. Oh, one I did not put on the list that was also major. Technically, I guess a gacha game. Pokemon Go.
Yeah, no, we do have to count that. Honestly, that's very fair.
Yeah. I was big into Pokemon Go when that first came out, and like, again, literally everybody and their mother was going around playing the game. And this was also, it was very nice for me where I was like doing grad school, working on college campus, so I could like walk around, hit all the Pokemon Go spots, like that kind of stuff. Like you go to like the park that was like not kind of by my house, but there was like one specific park that everyone went to, and they had like Pokemon Go days, and like the whole place was crowded, everyone was there.
Yes.
Like kind of when it was like super popular, I was on it, but like I kind of fell off again, just kind of like lifestyle changes. And then the other one that I have on here, that I also have opinions about, Fire Emblem Heroes.
Yes.
It was like good for a little while, but there was a lot of quality of life things in that game that I did not appreciate. Especially when they started kind of adding new things, like they added first off, like kind of getting through the story and getting through some of the dailies just took a while because like you were playing just a miniature Fire Emblem,
Yeah.
They
Anybody
did add like
never
PvP.
played that, it's like crazy. But sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, it's like a grid tactics style of game. Like, but it's like kind of like a scaled down version of that. They added a PvP, but like the PvP was the only way that you could get like this one certain kind of material that was like a really really big quality of life change. You had to basically
Oh.
grind. And the worst part about that game, and I think I still say this to this day, they might have updated some of the quality of life changes since then, or like, someone please tell me that I was doing something wrong. But I told you about this. Fire Emblem Heroes, the characters all had natures.
Yes, you
So
basically
if
like
you roll
Pokemon.
for,
Yeah.
yeah, so if you rolled for a character and it would get assigned a certain nature, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think there was a way to change the nature back then.
Maybe
So
different
like
now.
if you had,
Yeah.
yeah, maybe now, but like back then, no. If you rolled for like a Ike, right? And Ike is like, he wants like really high attack. If you roll for like a negative attack Ike, that's kind of the same as getting like a negative attack, like, like sweeper in like a Pokemon game, right?
Exactly.
So that copy was basically useless, and there was no reason to kind of raise it up. You had to go roll for another copy and try to like go get the best nature, right? Which they probably quality of life changed it since then. And there's some other games that either like I've downloaded but never really played.
Mm-hmm.
Stuff that I have friends playing and they've talked my ear off about it. Blue Archive, DK, Dragalia Lost, stuff like that, right? Like,
I've heard
there's a bunch of games out there, but we've yapped enough about
you're good.
what we like so far at this point.
But
So
like,
what's next on our?
so even in all of that, like
Yes.
all the stuff that we just explained that we have played, there's still so many that we haven't played. So I've kind of reached out a little bit to a couple different people, and this is kind of where we're going to talk about like what we plan to do for future episodes. I would love to have guests on, and there's several guests that I've already kind of got in mind for particular episodes in the future, where we will be bringing them on, and depending on how we want to structure stuff, like say if it was an episode like we're going to rant about Fago, or we're going to rant about Azure or something along those lines, we have enough knowledge about certain games. We could literally do like a freaking PowerPoint like slide presentation talking about stuff like, would we recommend this game? Would we maybe give some hints or stuff? We're not going to do like full on guides or anything for that. There's plenty of other YouTubers for that.
Yeah, especially and this is the stuff that I was telling you, because this is still your channel and your podcast. I'm just going to be a frequent collaborator on here, probably, especially when we're talking about Fago and probably some of the upcoming things. So that's why I was like, "Hey, Kate, we should do this now before."
Exactly.
Okay. And I was telling you the other day about like, hey, yeah, like we could structure, and it kind of just depends on the game, depends on the person that you're
really
on here.
does.
Like you said, you might bring some guests on here, and people that play like Nikkei, people that play Blue Archive, people that play Azure, like games that I'm not familiar with. So then like they can kind of give their spiel, account overview, like what they enjoy about their favorite characters, like that kind of stuff.
Exactly.
Just highlighting their experience with the games. I can be on here highlighting my experience with some of the games that I play and like why I like them, plus like some upcoming stuff as well, and then how to structure them. I was telling you, like, we don't always have to just record our Discord calls. We could have like actual like visual
and stuff
structure, and I'm like, look, I'll do a PowerPoint. I'll do it. I love PowerPoints.
Which I totally like, and it does depend on like what we want to do for it, but I am totally down for stuff like that. Like, hell, if I invite a guest and I'm like, yeah, they're like, oh, well, what do you want me to do? Oh, sell us on this game. If they come up and like, okay, I have a PowerPoint presentation, I will, they absolutely are more than welcome to do that type deal.
I'll tell them to go, like, just make a whatever you want to do as far as like a Google Slides or whatever, about like, here's like an account overview. Here's some screenshots of some of my units. Here's like some of my favorite, like stuff like that, right? Like, just make it a bit more of like more of a discussion guide kind of a thing.
Yeah.
This is the teacher in me coming out at this point where you have to have the guided visuals to go along with what you're saying to support the stuff. I'm in summer mode right now, so I don't care about any of that.
It's
just
all
saying.
good. But like in terms of other episodes, though, like even if it's not PowerPoint stuff, there's other visual stuff we're going to be trying to do for some upcoming games that we want to kind of discuss as well. Two games that we'll just go ahead and like kind of talk about this now before we get into the last little section. We're going to rip the Band-Aid. Two games that are coming out later this month. Uma Musume, which is a much older game in JP. It is finally coming to English, and I'll be able to play Horse Girls. And Persona 5 The Phantom X, which has been locked behind the Chinese side for a good hot minute, so I've definitely been wanting to play it. I know some of the characters, but I don't know anything about how the story is or whatever. Those are dropping on the same day. That's another reason, like you said, we need to go ahead and start this.
That's why I'm like, Cade, it's the beginning of June. This is coming out at the end. Both of these are coming out at the end of the month, and we have some Vigo stuff that both of us want to talk about.
Oh yeah.
And we need to like start this podcast and get it going, which is why I bugged you to go do this now.
It's very fair and honestly very, very true. All points warranted.
Yeah, but, I guess like as far as some of the ideas that we had, as we said before, like both of us are like major Fago players, but there's already a lot of specific guides and etc. out for that game. There's dozens and dozens of YouTubers, old and new, that talk about stuff. So we might just have more of like fun, casual topics about like bragging about our accounts, who our favorite characters are. Mm-hmm. Both of us are very much looking forward to the upcoming summer event, especially this year. Both probably broke on it. We've both been trying to figure out how in the world we're going to be able to actually like stream our phones to like the computer, trying to get the app, and figure all this stuff out. Doing rolls I think will actually be very cool. Like I always love watching gacha rolls.
Same. You know? Like that's something that I've kind of experimented with on the channel, despite mainly being like a card game channel. For Star Rail, I've tried posting like polls for certain characters and stuff like that, and I'm like just to kind of like test the waters. And some people seem to be into it, other people not so much, but it's whatever. So that's one other big reason why I was doing that, was like, okay, if we were to branch out and try to do something pertaining to gacha, like a gacha topic or videos on that, would this be something people would be interested in? And you know, another reason we're kind of like, can we get this stuff set up and can we make the videos we're like wanting to yap about? We want to yap. That's honestly like a big portion of it.
And with Uma and P5 coming out, we were talking a lot about like, because both you and I don't really know a whole lot about kind of how these games play. Because
correct,
Uma is a very, very old game. So a lot of sort of the old starter guides, my one friend was telling me like, hey, it's like locked behind like Japanese Reddit that you have to kind of go through. Yeah. I think now some YouTubers are coming out with like guides for like what to do in the beginning, kind of a thing.
There's a lot of research to be done leading up.
Yeah, like a lot of things that we have to figure out. So maybe instead of just making guides, just kind of like chronicling our experience and like the early points and like what we like about it, that kind of stuff. Because Uma definitely plays a little bit differently, to my understanding, than kind of like your typical like RPG, because it's more of a character raising sim.
Mm-hmm. Which I'm totally fine with that, like doing something of that nature. So chronicling that type of a journey for it, like, hey, we're trying this out, do we like it? Maybe we'll do that with other gacha games in the future or something. I don't know, but these two are like the two on our radar to test with right now as well.
Yeah. Well, also, and because P5 was locked behind China, so there just wasn't a whole lot of information. So now I think everyone's gonna try to figure stuff out, which, you know, we'll see how that game goes, because both you and I are big Persona fans.
Yeah. Joe is probably going to get pulled into that as well. I don't know if I'm going to be able to pull Moroku into it, but I'm certain Joe is going to be added in on that episode. So
yeah, we can we'll just see how it goes, see like what we like about it, kind of what our accounts look like in the beginning.
Sure.
We can talk about like what characters that we go for and why, and like who's available. I've only looked a little bit into like kind of what's the starter stuff for Uma and what's kind of the like first couple banners, because they give you like a bunch of banners, a bunch of starter banners to begin with.
Right off. Okay.
Yeah, like right off the bat, and then they start kind of rolling over the like bi-weekly characters to like roll for.
And that's like something interesting to think of as well. Like you talk about like chronicling the journey. This is just like my mentality here. Having had that experience in so many other gacha games, like say like I was talking about earlier with like solo leveling. Because I knew so much stuff of like what to kind of look for like when to get certain items or when to like roll for certain people. Like it's weird to say that like playing that long enough you kind of get a feel for certain games, and I still had to look up stuff, but like a lot of that knowledge transferred over. So I'm curious as to how much we can kind of utilize that old knowledge to be like, can any of it even translate to those types of games? Like it's just it's an interesting thing.
We'll have to see, because like the only thing that I've heard about Uma is that it plays a lot like how Princess Connect did, especially with like the gacha system and the pull rates and stuff.
And I never got into that one. Moroku did.
Yeah, and I'm assuming P5 is just going to be kind of like P5, so maybe that might translate more from your Star Rail experience if it is more of like a kind of a thing.
If the battle system's same.
I'm not sure.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll have to see.
True. So we'll have to see when that happens. And I guess the final thing we kind of wanted to discuss is like a kind of a why, like why we would want to do this. Like I know I said we wanted to yap. I know I said like I've wanted to talk gacha stuff, but I realized there's a lot of pros and cons to gacha games. Like people typically see gacha games and they're like, oh, you have a gambling problem, and I'm like, no, I don't. I have the exact opposite of that. I'm frugal. Like,
it depends on the game.
It depends on the game, but for the most part, like. I'm one of those types of people that I'm constantly checking my bank account to be like, all right, have I saved up enough? Do I need to save more? Hell, playing said games, whether it's RPGs or gacha games, I'm sitting there trying to like constantly like conserve resources on stuff. Like, hey, I may need this piece of gear. Like, I rolled this piece of gear that's like shit, but it has these 2 really good substats. Like, I'll hold on to it. I'll need it one day. I'm a hoarder when it comes to that kind of stuff. So I'm like, I don't think that me personally, I mean, like I said, it depends on the character, sure. But if I've saved up enough, I don't feel an issue with that. And like, yeah, I don't like seeing it in such a bad light. I like thinking that, I can pick up this game for free and see if I enjoy it and then spend money type thing. As opposed to, pay a $60 game that has day one patches, $80 games,
It depends. It really depends sort of how much enjoyment you get out of it in that regard. Mm-hmm. Because you can say that about looking at all the games on my shelf right now. Any of these games that I pre-ordered for $60, $80, maybe like $100, $120, $200 for like special editions, right? Mm-hmm. Like, even if I really, really like enjoyed them, like whatever, like I'll play through those games once. And that's it, right?
Exactly.
And maybe like some content or whatever, or I'll get to the point where I just like I bought it, I was interested for a little while, and then I dropped it, like that kind of a thing. But like with mobile games, because of sort of how that is structured, because it is like on your phone, and you can just kind of pick it up and play as you go. Mm-hmm. Something like when we like Bang Dream was really good for that, because you can just kind of like get a song in, takes like, like literally like 2 minutes, just kind of like in between like, your commute or something like that.
So I have another point for that as well, but go ahead.
Yeah. And then like something like just like another RPG, like you log in, do dailies, whatever you have to, like spend some AP or whatever energy, and like you're good kind of thing, right?
Exactly.
One of my things that also affected my Genshin experience, going back to that, is for most of the years that I played Genshin, I didn't play like a mobile game because I downloaded it on my PlayStation 4, and because of the way the PlayStation Network is with that game, certain things were locked from the PC version and the mobile version.
Oh, I wasn't aware of that.
Yeah, so like if my account is locked to, at the moment it's locked to PlayStation, so then I can't go and spend on the mobile version or the PC version unless I kind of like email them to like unlock my account off of the PlayStation Network kind of thing.
That's
but
funky.
I played it a lot more like a console like co-op game than I did a mobile game kind of thing. So my experience was a little bit different. And like me just kind of like not being around my PlayStation. We talked about this before too. Mm-hmm. I'm like, I would be having to bring my PlayStation controller around to like go over to like my friend's place because I was like, yo, I'm gonna log on your PlayStation and I'm gonna go play Genshin, log and do my dailies. And the guys are like, yo, what are you doing? I was like, I have to do my dailies, right? Um, and then, but then like, it's a different experience. And then like I
Agreed.
downloaded it on my phone and I can just do it from there. But it's a different experience on my phone because the way the controls work. And then I figured I could just plug the controller into my phone because my phone had that capability. So I was like, yes.
Gee.
Um,
Exactly.
but what do I like the con? I think the cons for mobile games, it very much depends sort of on the person and the game.
True.
Let's not shade it any other way that like the gacha system is gambling, basically.
Okay.
Going back to Genshin for a second, literally, I think as of like a week ago at this point, there was a lawsuit, like $1 million lawsuit that Hoyoverse had to settle about like gambling to like underage kids kind of a thing, which is why
Yeah.
earlier they had to roll out age verification for everybody that plays Genshin.
They did it for Star Rail as well. If you have a Hoyo
Yeah.
account, doesn't matter what the game it is. If you have a Hoyo account, I got an email that was like, "Hey, you have to confirm this. If not, by this such and such date, if it's not confirmed, your account will be locked out and deleted." And I'm
Yeah.
like, "Oh yeah,
And it's like,
we're
oh,
doing that
like,
now."
yeah, well, like we're not going to sugarcoat it, right? And there's like in Japan, there's been a bunch of laws about like you have to tell what the rates are. You can't just hide the rates.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, games like kind of are required to have some sort of what's called a pity system where you have to get a character within a certain like amount of rolls.
Yeah.
Thing. Something like, and that's like most games at this point because of like laws that have been passed on this.
Exactly.
And I don't know about you, but my luck is very up and down when it comes to rolls. Sometimes it's like, all right, like one summon, and I got exactly what I wanted, and I'm out. And sometimes I'm like, look, I'm getting hosed and getting taken a pity and getting nothing out of this, and I'm getting like double pity, and I'm just like, oh my god, stop.
It's wild when you think of some of those like years ago, where like say before Grand Order had pity and stuff like that. It's like that used to just not exist. So
And people would spend hundreds.
Mm-hmm.
Like not even people who are like whales. It's just like, hey, I want this one copy of this one character,
Mm-hmm.
and I spent some dollars and did not get her, and like, understandably, they would be very mad about that, right?
Oh
Which,
yeah.
again, I think the gacha community has kind of changed since then, including the developers. But it definitely, I myself as like a gacha player, I started out as being like I'll be free to play, or like maybe I'll like spend like one thing here, like I could do like a $20 pack or like a $10 thing for like this little special like battle pass, like nothing super extraordinary, right?
Exactly.
But then something like Fate, which I've played for going on like 7-8 years now.
Yeah.
It's like I have 1,000% put money into the game.
Same. Same. I'm not gonna say I
A
don't
lot of
spend
money.
money, but I haven't spent like thousands by any means.
I mean, at this point, what I've added up, I can't. I don't want to. But like I've spent money on the game, and I don't mind spending money on the game because I'm still getting a lot of enjoyment out of it.
Mm-hmm.
But also, like, I'm not in the same situation that I was,
True.
almost 10 years ago. Like I got bills to pay, I got a house to pay off, like I got the adulting stuff to do. Even if I got the big boy job now, I got the big boy responsibilities.
Exactly.
So my budget for gacha games has been slashed. I've had to like kind of save up more for the certain things that I want to and try to curb the impulses a little bit, which is also why I have historically in the last like couple years, basically since Genshin, been very resistant to trying out new gacha games because I do not want the situation where it's like, yeah, this game might be good. Yes, I'll probably like it, and that means that I'm going to go spend money on it.
Gotcha. No, that's very fair. That's very fair.
So like people in our Discord who are into Blue Archive, Nikkei, they make the Weiss sets for these these games, right? Like Azure Lane, because there's more Azure Lane stuff coming out. There's been a lot more Azure Lane since I've done it, right? Uh, Heaven's Burn Red was another one that I kind of thought about playing, but then I didn't. But like, it still kind of looks really cool. And there's a Weiss set for it, and I have not kind of gone hard into those Weiss sets because then it's like the same thing where it's a little bit of self control. I'm not going to go hard into the Weiss set.
It's just cats.
I'm not going to go hard in the video game. And like, I've had a lot of friends who are like, "Yo, why are you still playing Fate Grand Order? Everyone's on DK now." And I'm like, "Dude, no way, I can't."
Nuh-uh.
You know, yeah, like the gacha ain't that bad. I'm like, dude, I'm going to spend on it. No shot. Plus, like, just the amount of time to like, because some games like dailies are a lot quicker than others, right? And there's positives and negatives to that.
Because I could spend like a few minutes on like say Star Rail or Wuwa, but then we'd go over to solo leveling, and it wasn't bad or anything, but I would definitely spend a much longer time for all the stuff that was their quote unquote dailies. Like I definitely like noticed certain games taking longer than others for dailies, even if it was like 45 minutes or something of that nature to do everything that I wanted to do. You know,
most of the time, gacha games go on for a very long time, especially the more successful and popular ones, right?
Mm-hmm. Like MMOs.
So like MMOs. So like it's not just like a game that you're going in with the attention of like, at least like you could people do this, I guess. You could either play it with the intention of, hey, maybe I'll pick it up, try it, see if I like it, and then it gets to the point where it's like, oh crap, I have played nothing but this game for 8 years. And I still have like, like two, and like it's not stopping. So like we still have all this planned out, and like we're not slowing down at this point, right?
Exactly.
So like it's definitely one of those things where if you find the right gacha game that you like, and like it has a good community, a good developer, you can just be in it for the long haul, and like, which even if you do spend money on it, it's worth it, right? Because like the amount of that you get out of it, the amount of investment that you put into it with like the story, the characters, like all that stuff.
It's like even going back to like the MMO comparison that I made, like these are games you're not paying a subscription for, as opposed to and I have been on the side of MMOs before as well. I played Final Fantasy 14 for several years, and I paid subscription for several years. So do I feel like I got my money's worth? Absolutely, 100%. But I think it's really crazy, like going back to like Grand Order. I remember it was years before I spent any money on that game that I was like, oh, I am in this for the long haul. And I like the idea of being able to test out a game before you like really commit to it. So when you're able to do that, and I realize I'm kind of like talking in circles here, I don't mean to, versus you pay all this money up front for an MMO. You still have fun, cool, awesome. But there was also a very real chance that I spent all that money on 14 and ended up going, well, damn, this is shit, because, Realm Reborn stuff, but I got past all the Realm Reborn stuff and, way better. But, some people don't get that far. Some people don't make it past the initial first bulk of the game, and then you're in the expansions, right, that are actually good. Like,
yeah,
I actually ended up enjoying it, getting even in the early parts that I decided to keep going. There's a very real thing where people buy brand spanking new games, and this is, kind of where GameStop had their whole thing as well. Someone buys a new game and goes, oh, I tried this new game, it's shit. Here, let me go trade it in for something else or something,
Yeah.
Where zero money investment initially for gacha games, until that one waifu grabs you by the balls.
Yeah.
But I like being able to do that and go, oh, I actually like this here, and now I'm going to support you. Now I'm going to be like, here, Battle Pass or spend $20 or whatever on something. Like, okay, cool. I like that you can get a whole brand new game, zero investment outside of having the phone or PC to run it. But at that point, you have it for other uses, whatever. And then decide if you enjoy it and go from there. Anyway, that's my rant on that.
Like you brought it up, which also like something else that I also find myself there, like at least the last couple of years, because I have been so invested into like certain games, your Fate Grand Order, your Hoyoverse games, etc. Right?
Mm-hmm.
I have gotten away from playing console games like I used to, because like back
Same.
in the day, that's all you could playing stuff on your PS2 or your like NES, and then now like what, like the Switch 2 is scheduled for release, and games are going to be like price point like $80. The console itself is going to be
Egregious.
what, 400? Yeah, outrageously priced for like a console, right?
Yeah.
And it's not like playing on like a high-end PC is any better, because high-end PCs are going to cost you even more for like stuff to run. And it's not like, oh well, I have a high-end, like I'm going to invest all this money into a gamer PC, like $3,000, and then I'm just going to play, I'm still playing Genshin on it, or like like WoW, or just like an MMO kind of a thing. And a lot of the tactics that a lot of the AAA developers, I think they've kind of seen what some of the smaller kind of like gacha developers are doing, because it's like, hey, these really small developers are just making kind of basic games, putting a little bit of a monetary system in there, and then making hand over fist. So then this is where you get your like microtransactions in your like AAA development games with like 5 to 3 DLCs. And then half the time it doesn't work on launch, so you have to down like a 200 gigabyte patch just to make the game like playable.
Exactly.
And then some of those games are just like, like it's just broken on some of the stuff that like Ubisoft is doing, a lot of those other AAA developers.
I mean, like think Cyberpunk, like initial release was absolute garbage. Yeah. It's been fixed now.
Cyberpunk initial release, there's been a bunch of examples of that.
Yeah.
Or at least Cyberpunk, in that case, they kind of got better after a while, which I still actually need to check that game out.
Agreed. Like from what I've been told, it's better now. But initial like out the gate.
I also need to watch it today.
Yeah.
But
you haven't watched it?
No, I haven't watched it yet, because
yeah, you need to.
Well, because what happened was because the initial game was junk, right?
Yeah.
And then I didn't have really any hype for when they announced that we're going to get a Cyberpunk anime. It's like, oh, well, the game is trash. But then like the anime comes out, and basically the anime, I think, actually saved the game, because it restored a bunch of hype back into the game. So when they fix the game, it's like, all right, now we can actually go and like enjoy Cyberpunk, which I'm like, you know what, that's good, right?
Yeah.
But every kind of one of those, like kind of like feel good stories, you get your what's the one that came out? Conquered.
I've heard of it. I know nothing of it.
Yeah, that was like the failed like hero shooter that was like supposed to be big. I think it lasted for like a week.
I'm pulling up Google now. It's called Conquered?
I believe that's what it's called.
Conquer Online?
Concord.
Oh, Concord. Okay.
Hold up.
You're good.
Game. Yeah, like Concord. This was supposed to be like the next big kind of hero shooter coming out in like, blah blah blah. Okay. And it was like one of the biggest flops of like the millennia so far. With like how that game was, because no one cared about it. And a lot of some of the stuff that like Ubisoft is doing, everyone kind of gets on EA about some of the Star Wars and like all that kind of stuff are doing. And I feel like the video game industry definitely has kind of shifted away from a lot of some of the bigger AAA games, really driving it to a lot more of like the indie style games that you'll find on Steam.
Mm-hmm.
So like that kind of there's a bunch of issues that I see or that I have with the gaming industry as a whole. I don't just go ranting about this at this point, but like I would rather enjoy my little nook in the gaming industry. Just keep playing the stuff that I enjoy instead of just constantly chasing after the new game. Have you played this game? Have you played this game? Have you played this game? I was like, no. That kind of stuff, especially at this point in my life where like I don't got, even if I have the time that I can like sit down and play through like multiple console games or multiple even mobile games, I don't want to use the time for that because I'm too busy doing other stuff, right? Like I got stuff to do. I got like, we got other gacha games coming out that I do want to play. Like I got my own stuff that I want to do.
But with all of that said, sorry for the hard cut. Definitely realized we're running a little bit long here for an introduction, but is totally fine. That's why I enjoy doing podcast stuff. So we are going to be wrapping up.
We said this would be like 20 minutes or a half hour. We're past the hour mark at this point, or approaching it, or something.
Yeah, we're over.
This is why we need visuals, Kate, to help us out.
This is why we need guests, but I mean, it depends on the guest we bring on as well to also...
Oh, the guests are definitely going to yap, but that's okay.
That's fine. That is totally fine. But that in the future, I hope that's stuff that people enjoy and why people keep coming back. If you enjoy the yapping, thank you very much for joining us. It is greatly appreciated. If you want to hear more of our gacha adventures, especially with, like I said, stuff coming up for Uma Musume and Persona 5, the Phantom X, we will definitely be like talking about that a good bit, in addition to, you know, other guest episodes and other things that we're just gonna try to get a handle on and see if it's something people enjoy. If it completely flops, or if we're just like, yeah, fuck it, we're just gonna do our own thing, then it's whatever. But I wanted to try to do this. So, and thank you very much, Soup, for joining me on this absolutely incredible and crazy journey. So,
yeah, thank you for having me on, Cade. At least then I'll try to be on maybe as much as I can, if we can kind of get some ideas coordinated with future releases and past stuff that both of us want to talk about, and we can give people the content that we want and that they want to hear.
Exactly.
And get some guests on and just kind of have a good time.
Exactly. So prepare your wallets, and hope you enjoy the next episode of the Gachacast. We will see y'all later. Do all the cringy YouTuber shenanigans. Subscribe, like, all that, and we will see y'all later on. Stay based.
Summer is coming.
Summer is coming. Ah.